we still believe. Only fools in SAFC.
Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Midweek Mackems. It's flew around again. Favourite time of the week. It just seems like 2 minutes since we did this again, but we're back. We're back with the legends that are Conrad, Mike and Michael Bowers. As you know, doing this collaboration, the three of us there, the three YouTube channels on the top of the screen. If you don't mind, give us all a like, share and a subscribe. It'll greatly help. But welcome all. Conrad, first of all, how are you?
I'm good, yeah, good. Little bit. I've sort of recovered slightly from the weekend, shall we say? I think as Mike was watching mine, frustration was the word, wasn't it, Mike? Getting a bit agitated, shall we say?
Yeah. Not as agitated as me watching the game 2 minutes ahead of you.
Yeah, that's it happens to keep stone, yeah.
Well, really, we're saying Mike was getting agitated because it's putting a spanner in the works of Sunderland's European push, isn't it?
Yeah.
No,
I've
got theory. Well, I've got a theory behind that. Don't worry, we'll go into that.
Oh, conspiracy theorist now.
Anyway, Mike, how are you? Have you noticed I'm hosting tonight, so it'll be a crock of shit because I'm giving Mike the night off. But Mike, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm all right. Apart from the results, obviously. Just glad to be back around talking football again, and not looking forward to a couple of weeks break of it.
Yeah. That's the downside. And last but not least, the legend, Michael Bowers. Michael, how are you doing, mate? How's your week been?
Well, I'll say the legend in the top left corner of your screen, Wayne Doran, hosting tonight. So thanks very much for that. And I'm not doing too badly. To be honest, I kind of got over the result on Sunday because I actually said last week I thought people were getting a little bit dangerously overconfident for it. So I was thinking, all right then. But to be fair, if you want to look at it, the wall was getting overconfident.
It's your fault. No, which way? Is that way?
That
way on mine. It's that way on mine. It's that way on
Mike
mine.
was trying to have a dig at me and he can't even point in the right direction. That is an epic fail, a fail of epic proportions. No.
That's why I don't point anymore, Mike. If you want to look at it in a good way, we're still the same points above the bottom three as we were going into the weekend. So that's a good thing at least.
That's
it. Just a shame the Mike's had to beat Forest, but there you go. Other than that, but no, I'm not doing too bad. Wayne, how about yourself? How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, but not too bad. Like I say, it's nice to be back again. Favourite part of the week, talking with you guys and discussing all that's happening over the weekend. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot happening in that Man United game. But just before we get into the Man U game, this is going to take a little bit of organising. But Mike, are you going to look in the comments for to see who's in?
Yeah, certainly, yeah. So we've got Las Palmas Mackem says, evening, lads. John McKinney's in there saying evening, then straight on to Wayne's back saying, where was bridging the gap yesterday, Wayne?
Sorry, John, I do apologise, but Matty was bad. I think he cried off because of league results, but he was bad, so we had to cancel the show. My apologies, I should have put a post out, but I forgot about it. I was busy at work, but that's the reason why. It will be back next week on my channel. Or,
couldn't bridge the gap.
Couldn't bridge the gap. That was it.
David Joblin says, good evening. James Bowens in the house. Paul Armstrong is there. Say hi, you all. John, forward to another great show.
That's not a bad name.
Gary, at the moment, more than 2 syllables, I'm out. Evening to the 4 Musketeers. How are the lads? Emma's in the house, says, well, good evening all. Jonathan, good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Wade, do me a favour, please. And then she leaves a massive gap before she types anything else.
We a long favour.
But that's it for now. We've got a couple more coming in, but yeah.
Nice one. Also, just before we get into the main part of the show, we are available now on a podcast. We've managed to get it on Spotify and on Apple, so you can also listen to it if you're in the car, wherever you want to be. If you can't watch it tonight, you can listen to it and watch it
all
back.
Thanks to this bloke. And if you're listening, because you won't be able to see this, I'm pointing towards Wayne on the screen. So it's Wayne's doing that this has happened. So well done, you absolute legend.
Thank you.
If you're listening, I've just got the clap.
Again.
Meanwhile, Conrad is just a sportsman, doesn't applaud you at all. What a guy.
Shocking.
I pointed in the right direction.
He can't multitask, you know. He point and clap at the same time, just kind of do it. Well, there's Emma's replied. Emma's put the favour in the comments, Mike.
What's that?
Take off that horrible grief of a top. I think it's the gold away shirt.
We should do that now. Now we're audio. We should go around and explain which season top roll.
Right, so I'm wearing the Nightmare playoff final Charlton 4-4, the gold one. That's the one I'm wearing. Go on, Mike.
If you think that one's a nightmare, I'm wearing the 2019-20 League One away shirt. So there you go. Just a
this
reminder,
season's goalkeeper.
The shirt I'm wearing, although we didn't wear this shirt on the day, this shirt I'm wearing specifically the dark blue one. I actually really like it. But the problem with that season is that was the same season, and Conrad knows what I'm going to say here. That was the same season Phil Parkinson went to Gillingham and played for a point. So yeah,
yeah, that's the one I get rid of out of them.
I'm easy. I mean this year's black and pink and every other colour.
Which they've not
worn yet. Not shocking.
Not worn it yet.
I am in this season's pre-match. Half zip. Also, though, Mike, I'm repping.
Oh, look at that!
Look at
that! Brilliant. Right, so that's what we are wearing now. The fashion show's over with. We'll get
that's going to be an interesting feature on the Halloween episode. Just throwing that out.
Oh. And I've already got my costume, but we'll not mention what they are till later on. Or we'll surprise everybody on the night.
Are we basically saying well done if you're still listening, by the way?
Yeah. Well done. We're not turning off yet. Right, Man United at the weekend. And so on the show last week, we discussed about what the team lineups would be, and I don't think many of us predicted many changes. But when we saw the lineup, it was surprising to say the least. Regan, Talby were out the side, and Adingra and Bertrand Traore came into the side. So I'll go around the room. And what was your thoughts, Michael, when you saw the team lineup? Were you surprised to see Regan Talby dropped?
Regan, not so much. Talby, yes. The big thing for me, and I don't want to try and make him a scapegoat here, but I was not in favour of Masuaku starting again, because I feel like if you start Masuaku, if you start him in the back as a wing back, I might not be against it actually, because it's less emphasis on him defending, because if you get past him, it's like, well, you've got three centre backs to cover behind him. The problem for me is
I'm hoping we'll be finished by 9:30.
Yeah, for those of you who are wondering, basically Wayne gets all cranky when we get past 9:30. So when we get past half an hour. So
unlike news, I need my beauty sleep. You three are all right.
Oh, I need my beauty sleep and I don't get me beauty sleep. That's the problem. But yeah, no, to be fair, like in the first half, I felt like, to not make it all about Masuaku, I thought that, to be fair to him, it didn't help when he was up against Ahmad and Mbeumo. They had him on toast nearly every single time. And you could tell Man United just looked at him as the weak link and just went, right, let's keep going down that side. So I thought that was poor from Lebris to start him. And obviously I love Lebris, by the way, but he obviously isn't above criticism. And he'd admit himself he probably got it wrong. And yeah, I think the lineup was probably almost a little bit like, we probably believed our own hype a little bit, in that we could probably think we could go to Man United and cause them a lot of problems. And don't get me wrong, I believe we were able to do it. The problem was we left ourselves more exposed than what we normally like to be. And I think that if we just made the aim, but having said that, to play devil's advocate though, if the chance from Traore goes in the first couple of minutes, then Old Trafford game. But like I've said loads of times, I said it on my video and I've said it loads of times on across the internet, really, that this game for me, I always thought that this game, if you got anything out of it, it's a bonus, really. I know Man United have obviously got their problems, but Man United away, let's get real, Man United away for a promoted side is still a very, very hard game. So for me, if you got anything, great. If not, games like the next one coming up against Wolves are what define your season much more than this one for me.
100%, totally with you. I think a lot of people before the game, didn't we, in the comments, and I think we all said maybe everybody got a bit overconfident ahead of themselves a little bit and went there thinking, Man U were there for the taking. And like you said, they're still a very, very good side, no matter if they're in a bad spell or not. But Conrad, when you saw that lineup, were you surprised? Do you think, Régis Lebris got a bit overconfident himself and thought we'll go there and do a job on them, playing the wingers?
I think when we saw it was Adingra and Traore, I think we all put in our chat, he's thinking I'll get him behind their wing backs because they play high up. We'll overload it. In the first 4 minutes, that looked like a brilliant decision. And I think there was a slight suspicion of offside, even if Traore had scored, but we'll never know at that moment now. But it looked like he was thinking, how do I attack Man United, rather than actually what are they going to cause as an issue with that Forest necessarily didn't in the week prior. And then Masuaku just, we'd spoke about him last week, saying maybe we put Hume out there. Hume knows Ahmad a bit more, and and knows probably not to show him inside. But Masuaku was just going, there you go, son, just inside every time. Oh, you're left-footed, yeah, just keep going. And then when it was getting to Mbeumo was just doing the same thing, and then it's happened again, and then it happened again, and then it happened again, and you were just like, do you want to just not show him inside anymore? Like, how about you ever I'm not bothered. If you show him down the line, he gets a cross in and he beats one of the centre backs. Fine, that was on somebody else for not winning that header. But every time you just let him walk inside and just have a shot at goal or give it to somebody else. Both goal. I mean, one was a long throw in, but it still came from that side.
The first one came from his side, though, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But the other one for the throw even came from an attack down that side that we got out for a throw in. Yeah. And then they just launched the ball in anyway, and we'll get on to the second goal anyway. It just felt like we were all talking about, should he swap to a back three? That's how we think it should be, with the three centre-backs and then the wing-backs. We can drop into a 5 if we do get a bit, overconfident or overrun. And I think he sort of set up thinking, no, we'll play as well as we did against Forest, and they're there for the taking, and which they were, but with a different setup, because once we changed it, and I realise I'm doing a really long answer here, after 30 minutes when we changed it, it was an even game, really.
Give him a bang on the head there, Conrad.
Yeah.
Hang on. There you go.
I think you're right, but I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I know Masuaku was dog shit, and he has been dog shit for the 2 games he's played. But Mike, do you think that playing Adingra didn't help him, because Adingra wasn't tracking back either? And I think in that first 30 minutes, we saw Mbeumo and Ahmad 2 against 1. Like, every time they attacked, Adingra was nowhere to be seen.
Without injuries or red cards or a forced decision, he's got to be the first substitution I've seen Labrie make that early in the first half. Usually it's 60, 70 minutes before he's making a sub. And that says it all. I don't think Adingra's a completed player. He feels like he could be excellent. He feels like Mundle when he was first coming in. And I said he's got a lot of potential, but he's only got that run. And if that doesn't come off, he's not doing anything else to help with the team, which is great if you're up against an evenly matched team. But when you're up against a good team like United, we can't deny they're a good team, squad value-wise compared to us, then you can't sacrifice that. I just couldn't help but think like there's other players that would have tracked back a lot more. If we regards the actual starting lineup, I think shorter version of what Conrad said. I think if we just started with the team that we ended with, it'd have been a different game. With them 3 centre-backs, Ballard, Asset always when he comes on. And I said at the start we shouldn't have started Isidore. He should be a super sub. So I think we should have started how we ended.
Conrad, do you want to reply to that?
I was going to say, is Conrad going to have his angry reply, fight moment for Isidore?
Right. I've got one. I'm going to get my pictures out early. Right. When my ender came on, pictures coming up here.
Oh, here we go.
Tactical masterclass from Conrad Lee.
What do you do in this position? Do you think I'm just going to blaze it while all the Man United plays, or do you pass it to Hume? What you do is you shoot way over the goal, especially when you get the ball a bit further on, and he's still stood in absolute acres of space.
At least he got into more space than Isidore and had the opportunity to shoot.
I said earlier on to Wayne, I do have some praise for him, because at one point he had to drop really deep to come and get the ball, which you can see here. He dropped in deep to get the ball. Brobby's the only one in front of him. He took on the Man United player in front of him, which he easily sort of skipped past. And right here, he actually made the correct decision and gave it to Talby, who did not make the correct decision and just put it straight at the goalkeeper.
Well, he made the correct decision, just executed piss poorly.
Yeah.
He didn't make the correct decision in the first. No, Isidore wasn't even a part of the game at all, even when we actually had our first 5-minute spell in the first half. And the amount of covering that other players were having to do for Masuaku letting them inside, Adingra not coming back. Alderete had probably his worst game for us, but I don't think any of that was his fault. I think he was having to sort of watch these 2 players come in and then sort of have to marshal his man and go with whatever else was happening. Siddique was having to cover over as well, because it was just like we didn't have 2 people on this side. So even when Isidore was coming back to defend, he didn't really know where he was supposed to be either. I made a point last week when we were talking about Forest that Isidore, yes, he had his snapshot, but one of the better things about him was he was back and defending and helping out, hence why he stayed on for like 20 minutes longer. My ender came on had that moment where he should have passed to Hume. But apart from that, did really well to be like, I've had enough of this. I'm going to drop deep and get the ball and drive forward. And that's infinitely better in that game than what Isidore did and what Robbie did as well. Like, he was the only one that stood out.
Can I get the excuses out early?
However,
We didn't have my favourite player, Ray Nildor, and we didn't have our most expensive signing, Diarra. So although we're playing Man United at the right time, we were still fudging things in where they shouldn't have been.
we were, but I just didn't think we helped ourselves. I think Régis de Vries probably happy what he's had. He wouldn't have changed after 30 minutes if he thought he'd go right. I think he just overcompensated and just played the wrong formation. We'll touch on that one a little bit later. But I mean, the first goal, not a taken out away from Man United, you know, that's the sign for me of a quality player, because the cross comes in, Mason Mount takes one touch and hits it, and our players can't react. It's a great finish. You know, if 9 times out of 10 in that situation, players come and they take a touch, or they look at laying it off and or take another touch. But to be fair, he hits it straight away. Michael, go on, Conrad. Do you want to thoughts on the goal?
Say, that goal, I've seen a load of people online going, Alderete should have done more, should have been out quicker, should have been this. He had no time. Yeah. Mason Mount took one touch, and before he'd even probably put his foot down, he was already striking through it with the other one. Alderete was about a metre away from him. If he'd have waited a split second more, he would have been on him. And the thing that as well, the goal wasn't even in the corner. Roofs hadn't even set himself from when it had come in. It was just so quickly hit, not actually a fast shot, but quickly done, that neither of them had time to really sort of react to it. It wasn't in the corner. It wasn't with any power. It was just the precision and the sort of quickness of the shot. So I know a lot of people were digging him out for that one. And I'm a bit like, there's nothing he could have done. The guy took an immense first touch and hit it on the rise as it was, you know, as it had bounced once. It was a great goal, really.
The goal came from not stopping the cross. That's where the goal came from.
Well, yeah, that Masuaku and Adingra again.
Again. Michael, thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, for me, because obviously I'm usually someone that picks apart any goal we concede, and it's always, I mean, if you look, for example, I'm trying to think of an example, like say the goal against Brentford we conceded, even though we ended up winning. Goals like that annoy me because it's a free header in the 6-yard box. But in this particular instance, when I first saw it, I thought, could Roofs not have reacted a little bit quicker to get to that? But when you actually look at, when I saw the replays back, you look, it's just a good finish, and that says a lot coming from me. And let's not forget, Mason Mount is a good player. He's just had his injury problems at Man United, and he's definitely better than He's definitely better than probably a majority of players we come up against so far, in my opinion. So the problem ultimately was not stopping the cross or not helping Masuaku out defensively, because to get to your earlier point, I think you're right. Adingra didn't track back at all, and that's why he was hooked after half an hour. So for me, I think on that goal, I think you've just got to hand it to Man United, to be honest. I think and that says a lot coming from me, because I usually pick apart goals we can see, but I don't think there was much more we could have done about. Once the ball went in, I don't think there was much more we could have done. I think you just got to credit Mount with the finish. It was a really good goal.
Totally agree. It was past Roos before, like you come, I said it before he even had a chance for it to set his elbows past him. Mike, thoughts on that early goal?
I think it definitely went against the play. I thought we had them pretty much matched up until that point. And Wemo, I would give the credit down to him for the assist at the end of the day. He had the space. He delivered an excellent ball.
He's also a very good player, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And it reminds me of like when it's Xhaka's assist, you're all celebrating the goal scorer, but the assist made the goal, and I'd say the same for this one.
Aye, you're right. I was very impressed with him actually on Saturday, but to be fair to Man United, did you think they played differently? Because I think they played more direct than what they have been playing. He kind of tweaked the system. Now he's been criticised for being stubborn, but they played a lot more direct than what they have been playing, and that probably caught us out a little bit as well. But
is that because do you think they're more confident going up against a team that's just come up? So they've come out thinking, let's just go for it, kind of thing.
Possibly, but I think it could be a mixture of all them. I just think that they certainly targeted, you know, Masuaku. Ahmad, like Michael said at the start of the show, Ahmad tortured him in that first half an hour. But are we going to give a little bit of credit to Régis de Vries for, you know, recognising that he'd made a mistake and then changing after 35 minutes? You know, do we give him some credit for that?
0-0 second half, right? 0-0 second half. What I'll give him credit for is if he learns from this, and next time we're playing a good team, we set up like that. That's where the learning curve will be. If we go back out again and do exactly the same, I don't want reactive managing. I want proactive managing. I want him to do it preemptively.
I think as well, if you look at it, like between now and the new year, for example, I think we play Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and then we'll play Man City twice, and we'll play Tottenham. or within the next a dozen games. So I think we're probably going to see quite a lot of that system, really.
Do you really?
Jimmy, I think Masuaku has not been great so far, but he's not even in the same ballpark as McFadzean. Although to be fair to him, I do get the point he's making in that comparative to the level, he maybe is the Premier League McFadzean. To be fair, I'll give Masuaku this. He can at least produce a couple of decent crosses going forward. And that's the one thing McFadzean was just not good at, pretty much anything. So unfortunately, bless him, he tried his socks off, but he
just wasn't good at football.
Pretty much, yeah. But either way, so I think, yes, I agree with what Mike said. I think we need to see what we're going to do. Like, say, Chelsea away in a couple of weeks' time. I think that's going to be a big test to see if we are going to set up the way that we ended the game with. And that's, to be fair to Lebris, most of the time he does tend to get his tactics right. I think more times in terms of setup and formations, systems, whatever it is, whether it's pressing and going on the counter or whether it's pressing from the start and being front-footed. So I think... And to be fair, this is the first time we've come up against one of the quote-unquote traditional Big Six teams, because although Man United obviously have been anything but at the top recently, you've got to remember they were one win away still from being in the Champions League last season, in the Europa League. So, and I just think...
2 losses away from being in the Championship as well.
Well, if you want to look at it that way, yeah. We were one loss away from being in the Championship
That's
ourselves.
True.
So,
Yeah, true.
We
were right there with them.
But... Look, Man United, like I've said, I think Man United, if we'd played them at home, I would have probably been this is going to sound really weird. I would have been disappointed to lose against them at the Stadium of Light, and that's horrendous for Man United that I'm saying that, by the way. But at Old Trafford, I think it's just a different ball game. I think it's just totally different. The big thing for me is that I think the Breeze does deserve credit for at least changing in the game and not waiting, because another thing that could be factored into it is goal difference could be massive as well. So in games where we're going to lose, we can't afford to get beat by more than 3 goals in any of them, even against Liverpool, Man City, unless they play world class on the day and you can't do anything about it. But if you can help it, at least if you're going to lose, keep the loss down so it doesn't impact goal difference too much.
Well, I think his changes were very positive as well, not just like having that extra, bringing Ballard onto that extra defence. Ballard's a threat up front,
better, didn't it?
Ballard's the threat up front. It kind of negated a bit of the midfield, but when you've got Xhaka in there, you don't need anybody else. And we had 2 up front. So, I mean, I thought it was quite a positive, almost, let's try and get something back set of changes.
Well, if it weren't for the referee being, the referee and the officials, we could have done, but we'll get onto that.
Man United's 12th man, you mean?
Certainly will.
Well, I felt like it.
Yeah, it was good that he made the change. When I was doing the stream, I kept saying, this is coming, he needs to do it. And it did feel like when that second one went in, it went, well, like, it's too late now. Yeah. Like, I don't see us getting 2. But not that this is probably the most confident I've ever been that we could get 2 goals back at Old Trafford in our side, really, in my lifetime. But
it is harder to get a 2-goal lead back than 1 goal
I was sitting there going, we've made a mistake. You need to fix it, because they had the Ahmad shot, they had the Mbuemo shot, they had the one that then came through to Fernandez that Roof saved as well. And you were sitting there going, they're going to score again. We need to do something, even if you didn't change the player and just went, right, somebody else go sit over there with him. Yeah. And then when the second one went in, it was like, right, Ballard, on you go. It's like I felt like it's too late now. But like I said, I felt like this is the most likely we've ever got of getting 2 goals back at Man United, but it did just feel a little bit too late, even though it was the 37th minute that he changed it.
I think as well, you'd rather him learn the lesson at Old Trafford as opposed to home to Wolves, though.
Yeah, right, definitely. I think it was more damage limitation, wasn't it, when he changed it after the second goal went in. I think it could have, like Michael's been saying there, goal difference could be a factor, and it could have gotten messy. We could have easily gotten beat 4 or 5. Hadn't been for Roofs, it probably could have been 4 by the time he changed it.
Oh, absolutely. The amount of people that have been saying, your goalkeeper had a world-class game, and I'm sitting there going, our goalkeeper's world-class, like just full stop. The other change he made, I know I might be jumping into the second half, Talby coming on at left wing-back, like you mentioned, Wayne, when he played there against Villa. He was unreal again and really drove us out on that left-hand side a good few times. Obviously, we've seen the shot where he should have scored, but
he got there. He was in the right position.
He was in the right position. Also, the one that Mayenda didn't pass to Hume, that was from Talby going past 2 people, running inside and feeding it to him. You're just sitting there going, like, right, you're getting better. He should be, he should be playing right from the start. And Emma's right, Mike, I shouldn't be doing streams anymore. I've done 3 this season. We've lost all of them.
So it's Conrad's fault. Yeah, I can't even point the right way now. Conrad's fault.
Yeah, also, exactly. Although Man United have been playing really bad, that is their 3rd home win off the trot. So at home, they're still decent. So, you know what I mean? They're still.
And one of those wins was against Chelsea.
But they've had ref help in all of them. Sorry.
Yeah. Can I say as well, and even if you watch Man United's first home game of the season against Arsenal, they were the better team against Arsenal. They should have got something. So,
but if we get that one goal, 45 plus 5 minutes in from a penalty that should have been, it's a different game.
By any chance, Mike?
we'll touch on that. But Mike, do you want to read the comments out before we touch on to that?
I'll pick
how many people watching as well.
I'll pick a couple out. There's 68 watching on mine. I'm sure you've got others on yours as well. I don't get whichever stream you're on. Hit like, join in the comments. It all comes into the same place for us.
To all the other channels as well.
If there's a question or something, try and put it capsules or something because we do have a lot of chat and I can't
I'm
really
starring them ready for you, mate.
Conrad is starring some.
Yeah, and subscribe if you listen on Spotify as well.
Yes, well said, Michael.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know you could do that on Spotify.
After the time, but they can.
Yeah. Question from James Bowens. Could Alderete not go left back and then Ballard come into the back four?
Not from me.
I think you're more
could have done, but I think he did right bringing the three.
To be honest, I think if Ballard's going to come into a back four, you're more likely to see McKelly go right back and Hume left back. I think
didn't McQuilly go right wing back in the second half on Saturday, and he was bombing down that wing, wasn't he? So,
we were saying before he was a 50-50 right back, centre back, and I think even in the Brentford game, the amount of times he just kept wandering out and going on the side, he's clearly wants to be a bit more of a fullback, really. I think so. You could probably see Getrada swapping in at centre back, but yeah, I would say if you're going to have Ballard in, you're not moving Alderete out. He's been class. I think if you're going to play it, you're going to play all three, and you're going to shift the formation.
And you're going to see this during AFCON as well, I think.
Yeah, because you could still then, when we lose possession of the ball, you drop into a 5, you bulk yourself up a bit, and when you're going forward, you've got the likes of Talby, you've got the wing back on the other side, whoever that may be, who are able to bomb forward and help the midfielders out. So it actually benefits our higher pressing system, really.
John says Ahmad was brilliant. Must go for him in January. Need more strength down our right hand.
That was hard.
You hate to see it when it's against yourselves, but I couldn't help but admire him. And when he stepped in and took that shot on his left, I know it didn't go in that, but it was like, we should know about this. We know about this. Every fan was like, he's going to do this.
It did feel a little bit like he had such a good game that by the end I was like, I don't really like you anymore. Like, do you want to just fuck off?
Good evening, guys, says Steve Taylor. I put the McFadden comments up before. I'm just picking out a few as I go down, guys, so sorry if I can't get to them all. We need to forget the game and move on. It was a bad day at the office, period, says Gary Hoyle. Huge credit, but should have changed it after the first goal, as was bad then. That's what Conrad said pretty much. The worrying part is that Man United are the worst of the big six. But we perform better against better teams, I think.
You could also say, though, if that's the case, why did Chelsea lose to them then? Why did Arsenal only struggle to beat them?
Yeah, there you go. Jimmy Paddy says, question, is Hume too attacking to be a traditional left back? It feels as if he leaves too much space in behind. I think he tracks back really well in most games.
So do I. I think he does the defensive side of the game better than people think.
I just think he's had two, I don't want to say bad games, but he's just looked a little bit off the pace the last two games, and that I think his place might be in threat against Wolves. I really do. I just think when everybody's fit, he might. We did touch on this in a couple of shows ago. I just think he might be at risk of being shifted out.
And it's a big step up for him from the quality that he was dealing with last season to now. I think we said, or Michael, you said last week about the Forest winger and Ndoye had his life.
That wasn't Hume being bad. That was Ndoye being good.
Yeah, and it's just, I think there's a difference in sort of levels, and Hume's not fully adjusted to it yet. But that's not to say that he can't. It might just be we have to sort of go, okay, you're not doing well at the minute, let's put the other lad in, and then you fight to get back in it and show, why you should be there.
Aye, good point. Right, then we'll touch on...
Sorry, I'll get to the end quickly, Wayne. John W. says about the Wolves match lineup. We'll come to that, John. I have no doubts. Thank you. Gary Hall says, happy birthday to John.
That might be the next show.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we've got a gap in the middle. It's a nightmare. Happy birthday to George Foster, 99 years young.
George.
Yeah. Hope you had a great day, mate.
Have to play 5 back against the big 6 in the 12 games to have a chance of getting something, says John McKinnon. That'll do for now.
Nice one. So, Mike, you just touched on there our old friend Stuart Attwell, who we know we've got history with in the past.
Here we go.
The VAR one, obviously, it caused loads of controversy. Obviously, ref doesn't give it at the time. It's then given by the linesman, who then consults with Attwell, who then gives the penalty. And
Back
then
in a sec, the kid's waking up.
Right. And then VAR.
Conrad's kid is so clearly so distraught about us not
Stuart
getting
Attwell, that's it.
one penalty. Have you noticed that his kid was starting to go off it as soon as Stuart Attwell was mentioned?
Yeah, that's it. It's like the boogeyman. It's like the boogeyman.
Yeah. Dad, Stuart Attwell's a terrible official.
But Mike, I mean, first of all, do you think it was a penalty?
I'm not giving anything to Attwell because I think he had a terrible game altogether. I think if he doesn't go down grabbing his face, it's potentially a penalty. I think that part of the simulation and the fact on the replay you could see it wasn't nowhere near his face is what swayed the decision. If he'd have gone down holding here, where the impact actually was, and not made a meal of it, I think we could have seen a different story. Yes, it was a foul. Yes, it should have been a penalty, as far as I'm concerned. But I think that's the issue. The fact that he's gone like this, and on the replay, it's that far away.
It was the ball hit him in the face, didn't it? It was the ball hit him in the face. But
I was going to say,
Michael, the laws, I mean, if that's outside the box, the laws of the game say high foot is dangerous play, so it's a foul. So is it a penalty in your eyes?
See, to me, when I watched it, I think there was a high foot, but how high was it though? Like, was it? Because I mean, don't get by the letter of the law, you could say yes.
Is there a picture there, Mike, to bring on screen?
Yeah, go on. Just for context. So for those who are listening, Mike's trying to get a picture of the incident itself. But from let's have a look.
Yeah. That's a pretty high foot, to be fair. He's not bent over that much.
Okay, that is a high foot. Yeah. Well, okay, and I actually got it on my laptop as well, so I can actually see it a bit bigger image. It actually looks like the ball's on the cone there. There might be a different ball actually on the cone. Come to think of it. But anyway,
I'm sorry. The ball boy also looks fresh out of a horror movie there.
God, this would be a surreal experience listening to this and not seeing the
yeah, I know. Welcome to Spotify. We're going to put a picture on the screen.
Right. To me, because of the fact that the ball is what makes contact with Hume, I don't think it's a penalty. I think personally, the way I look at it is the other way around. And I know you can say it's not the best way to judge this. Other way around, if we conceded a penalty like that, I would be livid. I would be fuming the fact that it would have been given and judged to be given against us. So what I didn't know at first was that Stuart Attwell, apparently after consulting with the linesman, had actually given a penalty. I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was just literally, right, it's a corner, and then VAR were just checking it. I didn't think that it was a decision to give it a penalty, then it was overturned. Now, I think Bruno Fernandes had far too much influence in this decision, personally. But other than that, I'm not convinced that I was bothered it wasn't a penalty because I wanted to have one. I wanted them to get it wrong in my eyes and actually give us a route back into the game selfishly. But I didn't think it was a penalty. No,
I think it's one of them. I just think if it's outside the box, it's a foul. So in the box, it should be a foul as well. And I think it's just the farce. And there's been ex-referees have come and commented and said that it's a penalty. Some have said it shouldn't. Some have said VAR shouldn't have gotten involved because there wasn't a clear and obvious error. But
can I ask you something then?
Yeah.
Sorry, before Conrad does, can I ask you something? Do any of you think if that was Man United appealing for that gets given?
Yes.
If it was the other way around?
Yeah, it doesn't get overturned either. I don't think.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I'm with Wayne. It should have been a penalty. The high foot is not in doubt at all. If Hume was right down here, you'd question it. But yeah.
I think it's a shocker. Conrad, what's your thoughts on that?
Sorry, that picture makes it look like he's in contact with Hume's head, though, when it's nowhere near it. Sorry, Conrad, go on. I'll stop interrupting.
Well, now that we've come to the correct decision... No, sorry. I don't know. His knee does make contact with Hume's chest, and I don't know in any other moment on the pitch if that's allowed, like in any circumstance. Like, admittedly, Hume is grabbing his face, which I was a bit like, but you're 2-0 down at Old Trafford. You're also going to try for whatever you can. Like you said, it's weird that the ref and the linesman came together and gave it. And then you're looking at VAR to say that's factually wrong. And I'm sitting there going, well, like Mike said, one of you said there just as I was coming back in, if it's a foul outside the box, if you sort of do that to somebody, you were behind him, you've stuck your leg through him and you've made contact with him, granted not where he's holding, but you've definitely made contact with him. It would have been soft. I would have been fuming if it was against us. However, we were 2-0 down at Old Trafford. I was going, it's a stone wall. I went, he's going to killed him.
VAR's kind of worked in our favour in recent games, but this is what I don't like. VAR should be like when they use it in rugby league. It's up to the ref if he calls upon it. Not the ref and linesman make a decision, then suddenly
if the ref
someone decides to overturn it.
Yeah, it should be if the ref wants to question it, just have a second look at it, then fair enough. But
I thought the one on Isidore was more of a penalty where he got pulled down by Shaw when he was trying to pass it off to Siddiqui, but that one got checked and cleared like instantly. But I thought, well, you've still pulled his shirt while he was trying to hold you off. Like,
I mean,
just me.
It wasn't just that incident. I mean, in the first half, he booked Siddiqui, which probably is a booking. Then Alderete gets booked early on. But Luke Shaw has gone through the back of 3 or 4 of our players and nothing given. So again, inconsistency with the referees. And Attwell's got history with us, as you know. He had a history with that free kick. That wasn't a free kick in 2010. No,
roll it back to the keeper.
Yeah. So I think we've only
I'm sure he's had other ones against us as well. It's just that Liverpool one's the most high profile. But I always remember his name from that moment, and I'm sure he's been involved in several other.
He gave that ghost goal, didn't he? The Reading game a few years ago as well, but then he gave the goal and it wasn't, or something like that. But I think we've only ever won 2 games in the 14 that he refereed us. So, but from that corner, from the corner, Ballard has a cracking chance at the back post. Should he have scored? I think to me it's a hell of an opportunity based on how good Ballard is in the air.
He scored much more difficult angles. It was like, I bet he's thinking it himself, though. I bet he's kicking himself on that one. Got to feel sorry for him.
Yeah, he should have at least hit the target and made Lammens make a save, but not to be. Like you say, I'm happy he scored. I'd rather him scored that one against Coventry to mean that he got the chance to miss this one. Yeah. That's the way I'd rather it be.
Mike, you think he scored?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very good chance, isn't it? And obviously, I think it was right before half time, wasn't it? So obviously, if that ends up happening, if that goes in rather, then obviously the game's totally different second half, isn't it? But like the others have said, I agree with what Conrad said. Like, I'd rather, it's almost like, imagine if he didn't score the header against Coventry and then say we lose on penalties, we'd be talking about probably a defeat to Oxford United as opposed to as opposed to going to Man United. So yeah,
that's what we've just been saying.
Absolutely.
If it weren't for VAR, Wembley, we would be here. We wouldn't be here. It doesn't go our way. We need to think back to
I don't think it's like a shocker VAR that has it, like that it's not giving that one to us. It's subjective, isn't it, that one? It's a bit like...
It's the fact that VAR itself is not consistent. They don't interrupt every wrong decision.
Yeah.
But suddenly they do for that, even though 2 officials have give it.
Yeah.
I might be jumping the gun here, but I'll briefly touch on one that might be coming up later in terms of if the player who was booked for diving was half a foot to the right, they would have looked at that and gone, oh, penalty, potential red card. But because he was half a foot outside the box, they're like, oh, we'll just believe the referee then. Yeah. Like, that's fine. It's like, well, hang on. Just because you've drawn a line on a pitch, that's where you don't do and don't get involved. Like, you should, if it's a wrong decision, you should be able to say that's wrong anywhere on the pitch.
Doesn't matter where it is, exactly, 100%. Yeah. Just because it's in the box.
But we'll come to that one anyway.
It shouldn't make any difference to where it is. If it's a foul, it's a foul. Doesn't matter where on the pitch it is. So, but
turns out it was the taxman that overturned it.
Cheers, Alan. Briefly, we'll touch on the second half. So, second half was much better, wasn't it? When we went to the back 5, we looked a lot more strong, a lot more solid. People say it took our attack and threat away. So this is kind of how we finished the game, wasn't it? Kind of geared through at centre half, and McQuarrie with that like wing back with Talby, and then we're kind of at that front three of Mayenda, Lafay, and Broby. I'll touch on Broby in a little bit, but people say it took our attacking threat away, but I thought we did create some good chances in that second half. If you remember, McQuarrie flashed one across the box where if Broby is sharp and gets on the end of it, it's a tap in for a centre forward. Talby misses a chance, the Mayenda one, which we've already showed. So, what's your thoughts on that second half? I think we potentially could have still getting something out of that game. Michael?
Conrad's probably going to hate me for this, but did this coincide with Isidore coming off? You know what? To be fair, obviously, look, it was more a tactical thing than Isidore, obviously. But I think, obviously, look, we did create good opportunities second half. And I think part of me, just to some extent, feels like because Man United had a lead to defend then they were going to be able to try and sit in and try and hit us on the break. But even then, like it wasn't that like we didn't create anything. Obviously, again, that you look at the Broby chance from Michele, and then you're looking at obviously the Talby one, and obviously if Mayenda had made the right call to pass to Hume, we would have had probably at least a good decent chance to get something get a goal back then. So yeah, I think it's more that the system just suited what we had much better. And in some ways, I did actually feel a little bit for Isidore because I wonder if that system would have suited him better in that particular game.
That's what I was going to say. That Mayenda did really well because he wasn't brought on.
Now, Michael. Don't backtrack now.
Hang on, because the Mayenda was brought on not as a forward, was brought on as a sort of a attacking mid, a wide player. So when he was dropping deep to get it, he still had Broby up in front of him, and I actually thought this is probably where Isidore would have been better than Broby at this point because he has another forward who's dropped deep to get the ball for him to maybe look for him, or so that if he runs into space, it opens up for Mayenda to have it. Just yeah.
Can I controversially say?
Married, though.
Can I controversially say in support of Isidore, one of the changes I'd have made before Adingra would have been taking Lafay off and putting Rig on. Because Lafay, I think, had a shocker. And I think he's been off the pace for a few games. And Rig knows Isidore. Every time they're on the pitch together, they get some awesome passes. That could have changed the game in the first half.
Do you on Lafay, do you think that, obviously we bought him and everybody wanted to see him in that number 10 role. But for me, every time he's played there, he's struggled. And I think he's more effective on the left-hand side. So do you think we should be playing him out there instead of Adingra?
He's not strong enough.
He's either a centre midfielder, which he's dropped deep and done before with us, or he's a wide left player. He's not actually a number 10. Or if he is, that's great, but it might be that you're a number 10 in an attacking setup side, not one that's going to have to drop deep and do the dirty work, and you're going to have to slot into the midfield and find you. He was great against Brentford, but he was out on the left. He was great when he was filling in against Villa, but he was just sort of given a free roll across the midfield. He was against Forest. He was sort of out left, I want to say, or a bit more central midfield when we dropped in the second half. And yeah, the way he was set up at the beginning, I don't think he was helped by anyone on that left-hand side. So it was just his passing as well. And then there was a point, didn't he just fall over at one point? Or didn't he just, no, Mike mentioned one. He didn't even run after the ball at one point when he was clearly first to get there and he just stopped.
I mean,
that was down the left. Yeah.
I just think he's been off the pace for me. I don't want to criticise anybody, but I just don't think he's the player we thought he was. And for me, his best games have been out on that left-hand side when he's supposedly been playing out of position.
Can I say he reminds me a lot of Jack Clark in a way when he's got the ball, he's impressive, but sometimes he looks like a lazy, spoilt kid. Yeah. Just throwing that out there.
I think it's not as harsh as the people saying Broby's worse than Altidore.
I know, I've seen that. I've stabbed the comment there.
It was being said online. It just popped up, and I remember I just being like, no, not yet. Anyway, not yet. I will say.
Just to add on the Lafay point, though. See, I disagree with Mike. I think there's been plenty of games this season where Lafay's actually defended and done really great off the ball work. At Forest, in particular, I thought he was great off the ball work until he was literally knackered and couldn't give any more energy than what he had done.
But watch it back. The only time he's great off the ball is when he's making up for his cock-up. Just...
I'm not so sure. I think
it's
the
his
thing
terrible
that
pass
was
that he's got to chase back and catch.
Did he get man of the match against? Was it Brentford he got man of the match against?
I think so.
There's just something that's what got me is what Conrad mentioned, that moment on the left hand side, and he's not, if he's match fit, he shouldn't be that knackered where he's not going for a ball that he clearly could have beat his man to. We're not talking he was sprinting and outpaced. He just looked like he was like, oh, it's already gone. I'm not bothered.
You think he's one of them?
He was very casual about it, and it was just like we're 2-0 down, we're still chasing the game, and we're actually getting a bit of a foothold into it. Just fucking run after the ball, please, and find a player in blue. That's all I'm asking. I wasn't asking you to run past 5 and bend it in the top corner. Do you know what I mean? Just find a player in blue. That was all I wanted.
That's what that when you that's
like Kobe Mainu. Find him in blue in January.
He was in blue end of the game. Wasn't he?
Oh, please.
Look, he suits that blue as well.
He looked good.
He did. But if you put that team line up that you just had on, how we finished the game.
Yep.
I mean, I know John W said about we'll not touch on Wolves too much, but at home, do you think that's a too defensive formation? I know when we get to Chelsea away in a couple of weeks where that might be a good formation to play, but would you have that personnel in them positions?
That would be my default, to be fair, because I think the players we've got now are fluid enough to change that into an attacking formation at the drop of a hat. Because it's 3 at the back at the end of the day. And all of our, some more than others, but all of our wing-backs are able to do that, able to attack. And I think that looks like more of an attacking formation sometimes than our normal setup. That would be my default if I was the manager.
Can you put that back on the screen a minute? Just for our Spotify listeners who I'm
I was just about to say,
can't even see it.
Showing it on the screen, but we don't actually. People who are listening don't know what we're on about.
The team on the screen, we've got Roos in goal. We've got a back 3 of Gertrude, Ballard, Alderete, 2 wing backs in McQueely and Talby. In midfield, Siddiqui and Xhaka with Mayenda, Lefebvre and Broby as a front 3. So if you're on Spotify or Apple, get your comments in and what's your thoughts on that lineup.
I mean, if you were...
Mukulele was brilliant.
Shut up.
I suppose.
That's true.
Where's
It's I wouldn't say it's a defensive one, that one. I mean, it's tactical to be like, right, we've lost possession, you slot into a 4, you slot into a 5. But Nordy is very attacking anyway, as we clearly saw when he was centre-back putting crosses in the second half. Talby was driving. Yeah, Talby was driving us. Nordy is mint. He just is great. Yeah. And Talby was driving us forward as well when he came on. So you've got 2 wing-backs that are wanting to attack, but have the intelligence to defend. Xhaka and Siddiqui know when to sit in and try and disrupt the play in the middle anyway. The only change I would probably make, and I know you'll laugh, is Isidore instead of Brobbey. But I still think Mayenda should be playing out on the right to support him, and probably Enzo in that role there on the left side.
I think when Reynaldo comes back in, he fits into that as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Well, not against Wolves, he won't. He's still suspended.
Yeah. He did say when. He did say when.
I think there's the case for the player Mayenda, Isidore, and Broby, the 3 of them.
I think when Brobbey gets going is probably the best way of saying it. He's not there yet, is he? For something not right, and he's not there yet.
I think you're right though, Wayne. I'd love to see Broby in more of that holding, because he's got the strength as them 2 get up, and then you've got 2 options there. It would be mint to see, but I'm not sure we'll play that at any point.
Well, just because when Isidore plays on the left-hand side, he's direct, he runs at people, and and defenders don't like that. So I just think he's impressed me when he's only had cameos out there, but he really has impressed me on that. Michael, what's your thoughts on that lineup?
I think it all depends, because I like us when we do have 3 in the middle, but obviously I think we're missing Diarra's athleticism in there, and I think, don't get me wrong, Siddiqui literally runs and runs and runs and runs, and then you've obviously got Xhaka in there, and I think that's still a good midfield too. The question is then, if you went with a midfield 3, do you put Rigg in as the more advanced of the 3? And obviously Rigg's a very good player, but he doesn't have the athletic attributes that Diarra does. As for that system, I don't know how to comment on it until I actually see it, and how. Because the problem is, it's one thing putting a system. You've got to remember how these players have got to develop partnerships and develop understanding of where each other's going to be. That's when you get the most effective performances for me. So, go on, Conrad.
I was just going to say that I don't think the back three and the keeper would have any issue because they've played together quite a lot this season, maybe in different combinations or as a three. And you've seen when the full-time whistle went against Crystal Palace, when it went against Villa, when it went against not Wolves, Forest. They're straight into each other, like absolutely like as a unit, like, yes, we've done it, get in, and then going to the goalie. Whereas all the other players, they might be near somebody or just sort of going, yeah, come on. But those Mukiele, Alderete, Ballard and Roofs are always like right into each other, like, yes, we've done it. I think they understand a bit more that this was a team effort between them. And like, of course, Xhaka will understand that as well. But I think because of how tight their unit is and how little we've actually given up as a newly promoted side, I actually think they are capable of doing that because they've had to do it so far. Alderete's first game on, thrown in at the deep end, and then lost Ballard, and then Nordy came straight on. Yeah. That's so true. He even got on the end of Man United's one and assisted their goal.
Yeah. The point was more, not so much, because I do think a lot of the lads obviously like each other and are popular with each other. But what my point was more about how, if you look at last season, for example, there was like effective little triangles between, I think it was Hume, Robertson, Rigg, I want to say. And when you had to replace one of those in that little triangle, we lost something because the familiarity wasn't there. That's more kind of what I'm on about and going forward. I wouldn't be against, if we're going to play Gertrude from the start, I wouldn't be against going with a typical back four again, but putting Gertrude in midfield with Xhaka and maybe have Siddiqui be allowed to go a bit further forward, or you have sort of a flat old sort of midfield three. I just think, and I think Jimmy's point on my comment section when he puts, for those who are on Spotify, says, I fear teams would run the middle of us if we only had two, plus Xhaka's pace, I'm assuming he means lack of pace, may be exposed. I do have slight concerns when I get overrun in the midfield, personally, and that's where I think I like us with the midfield three. Because even if we are playing Wolves, like, Wolves still have a lot of players that can hurt us because they've obviously had years and years of being able to be in the Premier League and as such could spend more on better players. Well, hopefully not better. Hopefully they're awful. But the point I'm making is, I don't know. I need to see that formation in action first before I comment on whether I like it or not. It's one thing seeing it on a screen. It's another seeing it when teams are playing.
It looks good on paper, but I think from what I've seen of Gertrude, he looks a good player, and I think it's only a matter of time before he does put him in the team. And I just think that could be at the expense of Trey Hill.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he could I think he will be in there at some point. It's just a question of what position he plays.
I mean, we've now got the options now. If players are having bad games, they will be out of the team. Where years gone by, players are having bad runs, they kept on playing them. So we've now got the luxury of now chopping and changing if need be. Just before we wrap up on the Forest on the Man U game, go on then.
Just one quick point on that. Let's please not forget all these players are new. Them passing triangles you talked about in the past had been built over time.
They're still gelling, aren't they?
I reckon Xhaka could make a great passing triangle with two pieces of wood. All right, so, genuinely,
for himself.
Look at the
sprays
players
it and runs after it.
If you look at this team right now and then turned around to somebody who didn't know and said, "Oh, they've only been playing together for this amount of games," they'd think you were nuts. They look brilliant already, and it's only going to get better with time.
And by the way, to add on to that point, this is where I've said that I think Sunderland deserve more credit for the start, really, because you haven't gelled pretty much a new team together, and that's a lot easier said than done. It's actually it's less common now that new teams are just going right, gel instantly and start getting results. When we've got 10 points in the first 7 games, and that's with a new team. With a new team, that's so impressive. Remember the statistics as well. That apparently, if you get 11 points in the first 10 games, even you don't go down apparently. So hopefully that remains true, but we'll see.
I think it's all credit to Luke O'Nien.
I'm not. No,
you laugh, but in the back room, I think
Luke
that's
O'Nien
genuine.
Luke O'Nien will offer a hell of a lot behind the scenes we don't know about.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I sent that to, I think it was you, Wayne, earlier on. The Adingra had put on his Instagram about something about how he was obviously disappointed to be taken off. But then he put up a picture of Luke O'Nien and his quote about it, sort of being like, I'll get better, the strength that I'll need to do this, that, and the other.
Resilience.
Because it sort of like echoes what happened with O'Nien when he started and he was out of the team, wasn't quite getting in. And it's just nice to think that O'Nien's actually telling him that, 5 years ago, I was in League One, not getting a start and didn't know this and, wasn't getting it right, but it'll come if you just buy into it. So I was like, you joke about it, but he probably is the exact person we want him to be off the field with all these players.
I genuinely only say it because of all these. I love all the backstage stuff that the club's releasing, like on X and stuff like that. And it's always 09 at the centre of a lot of it, and the morale looks awesome. And I think that's helped to gel that team.
There's a reason he stayed at the club this long.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean,
We can never get rid of him.
no.
Just keep it, even if he doesn't play, just keep him for the next few years.
I did kind of want him to get a minute or two at Old Trafford, though. When it was like 90 minutes, I went, just put him on.
Can I just say, here's what you want. The scenario is, say if we're playing the Mags at home and we're like 2-0 up and there's like 2 minutes to go, bring the line on for a corner and then he smashes one in from like 30 yards.
Yeah.
Or
And then he
Just smashes somebody for no reason, gets a red, and is like, cheers, lads, see you.
Yeah, just then goes to kiss Dan Burn on the cheek for good measure.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Annoy the Geordie nation.
Shows him that he's got 5 fingers, not foot. No, sorry, I won't do that.
Moving swiftly on. I was going to talk about Bertrand Traore's incident, but Man U game's gone now. I think just another.
It was a foul. It should have been a free kick or a yellow.
I mean,
baffling.
He gets clattered off. He gets clattered twice for me. Fernandez hits him, then Lammens hits him as well for me. They're there.
How he got booked for simulation there is that.
I watched it again today on the highlights, and the first time watching it in real speed, I went, that obviously looks a dive. It really does. But then when you actually watch it and slow it down like VAR do, you're sitting there going, he stands on his foot, and then the keeper poleaxes him while he's in off balance. Like it's
for once,
and
I'm actually going to defend
half a foot that way. They're gonna look at it.
Yeah, well, for once, I'm going to defend Championship referees here because, and I can't believe I'm saying those words because I hate Championship referees with a passion. But at least with them, they don't have the excuse of they don't have the factor of VAR. They're having to make a quick, instant decision. So I can understand them messing it up. I can't get it when you've got VAR system there. For me, that is just not a dive.
Guys, AFCON's nearly a year.
Wow. December, Tom.
I thought it was only a few weeks, not a year. Jesus.
Yes, we're going to sign 6 new players in January.
Well, I lost my point now. That was
Sorry.
gone.
on Traore,
with the incident, was it?
Oh, I was just saying Michael Bowers prefers referees consistently shit then. That's what he's saying with that. I'd rather you be consistently crap throughout the whole league.
Referees consistently shit in the Premier League. Trust me, I've still not forgotten how much Championship refs I rated, mate.
I suppose that's I think in the Championship, at least if you got it wrong, at least it's just you being shit. There's not a team of you collectively being shit.
Fair point.
If that's in the Championship, the goalkeeper gets sent off.
Yeah.
Or in the Championship, remember, if you swear at Jalid Gillett, you get sent off.
You get sent off, exactly.
He's the only person this season who's given a card to somebody for swearing at him. It's like
It's about that every time I watch a game that he's refereeing, I'm going, right, don't swear at him. He doesn't like it.
Give it time. It's filtering up from the lower leagues. Everything filters up from the lower leagues, and they're talking about sin bins for December.
Could you actually imagine if Jared Gillett was refereeing the derby?
Oh, imagine.
I would actually go, right, Newcastle, congratulations on your 3 points.
Yeah.
I don't know. Their play is pretty foul-languaged and just foul in general.
No, but they won't get punished for it. It'll just be us.
I don't know.
Just be us. Right. It's 59 minutes, but we have got a little bit of time out still. So I am going to keep on going for the next 10 minutes, even though I'm tired.
You ain't going to bed anytime soon. It's only 10 o'clock.
Jimmy put a comment there saying Wayne trying to wrap it up early so he can get to bed.
You forget we're pumpkin and we get any later.
He said, someone's put what's our predictions for Wolves? We'll probably be doing that next week when we see how many injuries come back from the international break.
Right,
Questions, and Michael, have you got a question for us that we're going to discuss?
Yeah, well, it was obviously one I just kind of thought of on the fly, really. But I think for me, obviously we talked about points and whatever you have. For me, would people take being on? I'm gonna alter the question slightly to what I asked in the group chat. Basically, I asked, would people take being on around 20 to 25 points by the end of the calendar year? Bearing in mind we play Man City twice, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham. I would say after Burnley at home by the end of January, if we're on 30 points by that stage, or even if you want to say upper 20s or 30 points, I personally would probably take that. I don't know whether anyone else would, though.
100%.
But the thing is, because December's obviously a rough month fixture-wise, because I think it's Liverpool, Man City, Saudi Arabia, then Brighton and Hove Albion, then I think it's Leeds, then Man City, Yeah,
No,
but
it's
January, and then Tottenham at the start of January. But after that, January's an important month because you've got Brentford after that, then Palace, then West Ham, then Burnley. So I'm almost kind of thinking that if we can be around 27 to 30 points by the end of January, we've probably got every chance of surviving, in my opinion. But I don't know what people think.
I think you're right, because if we're basing it on 40 points, that only gets us another 3 wins and a draw to get for the second half of the season. So
yeah,
if we anywhere near that, Michael, I'll be absolutely buzzing.
Well, would you? Here's one then. Would you take being on 20 points before AFCON? So 20 points after the derby.
That's halfway to safety, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think it's after. I think that's after 16 games. I want to say after Newcastle.
3 games before the.
So it's 3 games before the halfway stage. If you get to 20 points, I'd take it now.
I'd take your hand off, just purely based on them run of games what you've mentioned in December, because December could be a really, really, really disappointing month.
There's 12
I will say,
games.
by the way, even with AFCON, Leeds, we need to be getting a good result there. Even with AFCON, even with players missing, we should have enough to be able to get something against Leeds.
There's 12 games between now and the end of the year. And when you say, to get to 20 points, you go, that's great. But then you sit there and go, that's 9 points in 12 games, which is a possible 36. It doesn't sound good.
But you have to take into account you play Man City twice, Liverpool away, Chelsea away, then you play Arsenal, and you go to Tottenham as well.
I don't know. I'm still one of them. You play everybody twice, but I appreciate obviously a run of them is a bit of a different sort of.
Well, all right, Conrad. If I said to you we're going to be on 20 points after we play Newcastle, would you take it? And for context, that's Wolves.
Yes, 9 games.
Wolves, Chelsea, Everton, Arsenal, Fulham, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Man City. Yeah, okay. So he's talking 9 points in the next 9. Basically.
Yeah, that sounds better, averaging a point per game in the next 9. But like, it's just when you start to go like, I know that's still 27, and you go 9 for 27, but it's you're getting 1 out of 3. It's not going to be terrible. And if you win your 1 out of 3 games all throughout the season, you're on 36, 37 points. So it's not. Yeah. It's you're thereabouts. But Mike's probably going. We're in the Champions League.
What's the matter?
Well, I'll just say very quickly before Mike tries to convince us all we're going to be in Europe in some form or another next season. I'll just quickly say that even the games that aren't against the quote-unquote elite sides, like Wolves, obviously is not going to be an easy game despite their start. Everton, Everton's got players I would dream of seeing us have. And then Fulham, not easy. Bournemouth, can anyone sit and tell me
we're
Bournemouth's
terrible record against Everton as well anyway. Just throughout our history, we just never seem to beat Everton. I can't even think of, apart from that 2-0 fluke when we stayed up with Dick Advocate, I can't think of a single time we've beaten them.
I can actually think of one when we set the bags down.
Well, aye.
Oh, yeah.
But I know your point is right though. We don't tend to beat Everton. No. I can't remember last time. I don't think we've ever beaten Everton when Moyes has managed them. And there's another thing. David Moyes coming back.
Did we beat them at home when Allardyce was in charge when we stayed up?
That's the one he just said. Yeah, that's the 3-0 he meant.
When we won 3-0. I think we beat Everton away under Poyet when we won 1-0 on Boxing Day. Key scored a penalty.
Yes.
Maybe I'm chatting shit.
So, but
maybe I'm chatting absolute shit.
Well, we beat them away under Poyet. We beat them away under Advocate. We beat them at home under Allardyce.
See, I'm sitting there going under Allardyce we lost that game 6-2 at their place when it was 2-0 them, 2-2, and then we lost 6-2. Then we lost 7-1 under Roy Keane, and there was 3-1s and all sorts of things.
Did we beat Everton? Did we beat Everton managed by David Moyes when he was there? Because I don't think we have done, to be fair.
I don't think we have done either. I don't. And because at that point under Moyes, they were challenging for Champions League or a European team most times, and we were not. That's it. We are now, Mike. I've got you. Like we are now.
We're talking about seasons where we've never had a club like we've got at the moment. Backroom and front.
To the original point, Michael, I'd sort of say if we were on 20 by the time we'd finish playing Newcastle, I'd sort of think that's all right. Because then you've still got Leeds coming up where you
still need to get something good result against Leeds,
Yeah.
Right, with my pessimistic predictions, right?
You're going to say we're going to get 5.
Genuinely pessimistic. I've been looking through and thinking that could be a loss, that could be a loss, that could be a draw. We will be on at least 32 points by the end of the year. At least.
What game are you going up to here?
21
Up to the
out of
30th,
36.
basically. Up to
You're
before
thinking 21
January.
out of 36 points.
So hang on, you think right? So hang on, what was it? 30, you think we're going to get 21 points after we played Man City at home?
Who are the 7 teams we're beating? Quick maths.
Why are you putting me on the spot?
Because
Wolves,
you're saying stuff
Wolves,
that I don't
Everton,
believe.
Bournemouth, Fulham, Newcastle, of course.
Of
and
course.
It's going to
yeah,
be Brighton and
that's
Leeds then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think we're going
I've just given you.
single
I've
team
just
that
given
isn't an
you.
elite side?
Listen, bookmark it, stamp it. 1 minute, 1 hour, 5 minutes, and
Oh my
48
God.
seconds. At least 32 points.
Right, I'll
by-
tell you what then. How about this?
By January the
How about
1st.
this? Right.
Bournemouth are class.
If Mike is
At
right
least.
and we're on 32 points by the end of the calendar year, so
We're all
is
gonna
this
shave
for-
your heads.
Are you
Oh,
saying
crap.
that is this before?
Yeah, that was me.
All right, fine.
Oh, shave
Deal.
me. Yeah, there you go. Right. Okay. So and just to be clear, so this is after we've played Man City at home. So
Yes.
by the end of the year, if we're on 32 points, we'll give them a public apology on this podcast.
We will.
If we get to
100%
32 points after that point, yes.
And it's got to be sincere.
And they go, hey, you know the comment about you getting delusional? I am so sorry.
Yeah. Mate, if
I
we're on
wait.
32
I'm so
points
sorry.
by the end of the year,
I am so
I don't
sorry.
think I'll-
I'm so sorry. Get your passports ready.
if we're on 32 points by the end of the year, I don't think I'll be able to phone in an apology, mate. I'll be absolutely off my tits with happiness, so it'll be fine.
I think I'll be off my
Listen,
tits and just-
I've said at
I'll be
least.
honest.
Yeah.
I've said at least. That's pessimistic, Mike.
So what's
should
your
be more.
optimistic one? We're going to get like 12 wins out of 12.
Optimistic, 8 wins.
Would you sacrifice?
One
Would you
more.
sacrifice?
Who are we beating in that one more? City once, I guess.
Well, to be fair,
we
he didn't say
City.
another win. It could be 3 draws. To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you sacrifice losing all them games just to beat the Mags for that one win?
No.
No.
No, on one condition, we don't lose that game either. We draw it.
Right.
Yes.
Right, good answer. Good answer.
Yes, I will if we beat them 6-0 and Luke O'Nien gets a hat trick.
Optimism's got to a whole new level.
I wonder if anyone wants to edit this on Spotify and just put the little Britain clip. Oh dear Lord, he's getting delusional.
If is Man City on like whenever it is New Year's Eve? Is that like halfway stage of the season?
I think the halfway.
19 games. Isn't it?
So hang on. So it's because Newcastle's game week 16, I think. So it'll be Brighton. Yes. After
Yes.
Man
Yeah,
City, it'll be
okay.
because we'll have played Man City twice, but we won't have played Tottenham yet. So it
So
evens
if we
it
were
out.
to win that only, we'd be on
Everyone-
14 points with a possible. That's not good enough. No.
Did everyone
Well,
remember
I
what
agree
position
with
we're
you,
going to be in by January? Everyone remember what position we're going to
Right,
be in
can I
by
just
January?
say,
Oh,
James Bowens on my
10th by January. and then
Right, let's
6th
just
by
say
the end of the
James
season.
Bowens. I completely agree with you. I have no idea what he's drinking either.
Some boy.
I love his optimism, but I don't know what he's drinking.
I like the word. I like the word
Optimism.
optimism.
Optimism. Mike Optimism.
brilliant,
That's what
Jimmy.
should
I
be.
like
It's called
it.
Mike Optimism.
It sounds like a condition.
How many of those
Well,
games are at
Mike.
home? Someone's just put in the comments. Malav Sunder's just put Fortress Sol. How many of those games are actually at home?
So
on,
Wolves
so
is at
Wolves-
home, Arsenal, Everton, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Leeds, and
Man
City.
City.
There'd be
7.
So 7 home games. So hang on. So then we're playing. So it's hang on. Man City at home then, and then so it's only really Man City and Arsenal out of the elite ones we're playing there. Okay. Oh God, Mike's getting me believing now.
Oh, look
Gotta
at you!
This is
Look
gonna
at him
stop.
rub off. Look at him rub off.
Jimmy, vodka-tism.
That'll do. That'll do.
His drink's been spiked with booze.
Go on, the next question. Conrad.
I've
Good
forgotten
question.
what my question was. Oh yes.
Is your question, is Mike off his tits?
Yeah. What is
Well,
my
answer.
cut now? No, I'm used to that now. Mine is, it's sort of I don't want it to be a negative one, but is there any sort of signing or player this season that you've actually been a little bit let down by, that you thought came in with like quite a bit of fanfare, like he's going to be class, he's going to do this, that, and the other, and he just hasn't quite lived up to that sort of standard that you thought of enough? Because for me, it's Roos. I thought he should be the best goalkeeper of all time, and he's like second, you know.
Well, for me,
Behind
Guys-
Tommy Thornton.
Can I say
or even someone
Diarra?
challenging that should be in the team. Yeah, potentially.
Can I say Diarra purely because I don't think we've seen the best of him. Obviously, we've got this injury now and stuff like that, but I expected to see a bit more with that price tag at the moment, and I can't wait to be proved wrong.
Yeah, because it's a bit. He's only had 3 full games, but yeah, I could see that I was a bit like, where's the 30 million? Like, do you know what I mean? Like Siddique was 10 million less, and I already understand everything about
Jimmy,
him.
You're right, Jimmy. There.
Go on then, when you answer then, while you're awake.
Without taking the obvious one out of Masuaku,
Yeah.
I think.
Did you expect him to come in with a big fanfare though?
No, I think for me, Adingra was the one that's kind of disappointed me. Watching him last season at Brighton, he always looked good and looked lively, but he's been poor. I mean, there's a reason why he's been shipped out the side after a couple of games. He's been dropped to the bench. I just think he just doesn't do it. I mean, he just looks like a slightly better version of Roberts. He just tries to beat too many people. The final pass is not there. The cross is not there. And I think he's just been really poor. Really, really poor.
It's a shame that because he can deliver. If you say that because he can deliver it though. If you look at the goal for Ballard against West Ham, he's capable of it.
Yeah, he's done it for Brighton. We've seen him do it for Brighton. But whether it's a different system, I don't know. He hasn't done it. I think both wingers, to be fair, Talby as well, have took a while to settle in. But Talby is getting better, where I'm not seeing that improvement from Adingra.
I think for me, by default, it's Amad Diallo because he hasn't signed for Sunderland yet.
He used to do it.
Shithead.
Yeah, quite literally. I was just saying, hashtag get the checkbook out for January and come home, my Ivorian prince.
Hashtag dick on the table. Bosh.
Well, once you come back from AFCON, don't go back to Old Trafford. Just come to the Stadium of Light. You're absolutely adored.
And mine, because it's purely agenda based, is my ender. No, to be honest, there's a little bit of me that was like, I actually expected a bit more of him from how he did last season, and he was our leading, striker, and he was the one you would start every single time over Isidore. And when he started the season and he got a goal, I was like, get in, we're off to a good start here. And then the Burnley miss, and then that's been it. He hasn't been able to get himself back in since. Whereas Isidore's gone the other way for me in terms of it's like he's maximised his minutes, as it were, and providing to be a.
That's what super subs do.
That is when they start and score 3.
So are we saying Conrad's answer really is Isidore because he's really wanting to see him every single game start?
So.
He's like,
to be honest, I just want to see whoever scores. I'm happy. I don't really care who it is. It's just that at that moment, at that time, it was Isidore's got 3 and nobody else has got any. Well,
if I'm going to be horrible here, when Isidore wasn't starting, we won 2 out of 3. When he has been starting, we've won 1 out of 4.
He started against. Didn't he start? Shut up, Conrad.
Oh no, did he start against Brentford? No, he didn't. He came on. No, I'm thinking he started against. I think it's since Palace he started, isn't it? Yeah. And by the way, that was sarcasm because obviously we had harder games then. You had Palace,
trying to do points,
Villa with 10 men, and Forest away. It is difficult. I like Isidore. I think Isidore's done really well for what it's worth.
It's pretty close. As a sub, he's got 6 points, and as a starter, he's got 5.
So this is where Mike jumps in and goes, see, start my ender. Bring Isidore off the bench.
Yeah, but then we have to start including games where my ender doesn't even come on.
Unless you want to go with a false 9 again.
It's going to get old, this podcast soon, guys. If I'm the only one that's right week in, week out.
And you're going to say that when we're going to finish like 17th, you go, well, we stayed up. But I said we were going to be in Europe, so...
Yeah, it's just that the Mayenda one for me is just because of how good he was last season, and I just haven't seen that yet from him. But arguably, I don't think I've seen the best of Isidore or Hume yet. Ballard's been the only one that I'm like, yeah, that's exactly where you were last season, out of the ones that have stayed in the team. Mundell could be interesting when he comes back.
The weird thing for me, though, is when you look at Mayenda and Isidore, I don't think we've seen them both be in form at the same time. Where we've seen Isidore be in form for the first part of last season, then it was pretty much Mayenda at the back end of the season, and now it's back to Isidore again this season so far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good question. My question was along the same lines, but are you disappointed that we haven't seen the likes of Dan Neil this season? Do you think some of them...
Go to Mike first. Mike first.
Jimmy Paddy's definitely not. I promise you that.
For me, I don't think so. But, I've seen a few comments on social media that I think Dan Neil's been given a bit of a hard deal and he hasn't been given as much. Like he's been given no chances apart from the Carabao Cup game. So do you think he should have been given more of a chance, even to come off the bench and show he's not even been getting that opportunity? Dan Neil is dog shit.
Sorry.
Can I answer? As a Dan Neil fan, I'll answer. Right. Seriously, though, genuinely, I love the team that brought us up, right? I know Dan Neil was hit and miss for me. Some games, brilliant. Some games, not good enough. Don't think a lot of them are good enough in this league, especially the calibre of players we got. I'd love to see them get more minutes, but only at the point where we're 2-3-0 up against the team. Unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, we are the newly promoted team. Survival is our priority. We can't give people cameos without a safety net. So I'd love to see more of them, but they're never going to beat this team. Maybe AFCON, we get to see them all. That,
to me, though, what you're saying there tells me they're not good enough. If you're only going to be prepared to put them on when you're winning 2 and 3-0, you've got no faith in them to come on and change a game when you need them to come on and change a game. So what's the point of them on the bench?
I think they need that time in them games with some confidence to get the Premier League experience to then be good enough to come on. At the end of the day, what season upon season for the last 41 years of my life watching Sunderland, we have injury fun all the time. So I'm glad we've got them, but I'd like to see them get some minutes towards the end of games just to keep them.
Yeah, I do get that.
In.
Yeah.
For me, the one is it's not Neil. Although I did appreciate his cameo and his winning of a free kick in the last 2 minutes against Villa. Although he did give away the ball once, but then also got us out of trouble in the other one. It's Rig, but I'd like to have seen what there was that interesting thing that was floating around X the other week that someone said that Xhaka had almost had a bit of a go at him or dug him out in training, saying he was being lazy or a bit casual about it. But he's changed it up since then. It was a shame that what happened at Villa, that he had to get dragged because he was, like we've already covered, that he was pretty much the only one who he could have been sort of pulled off in that one. And then he did well against Forest, not as well as he was doing against Villa, but he was holding his own. And then, as Mike said, I kind of wanted to see him against Man United, even just a little bit in the second half. Just, all right, let's try something else. We're 2-0 down. What have we got to lose at this point? Let's give the kid a go. No pressure because we're already losing. What's the worst come? So I'm a bit disappointed we haven't seen more of Rig this season. Maybe not Neil, but Rig.
I mean, I know what you're saying, Mike. I mean, about the game time. And we need to say that, but surely training day in, day out should be improving the likes of Dan Neil as well. Surely that, I mean, the playing with him every day, surely that should bring him on.
I have no doubt it is. And I have no doubt his game's coming along loads with this company he keeps. But there's a difference in developing a player and the level that the other players are at. To get him past there, you're talking, if this was any other two players, you're talking 2 seasons worth of work to get him up to the level of the players that are on the pitch.
Yeah,
it's just a time thing, I think, a lot of things. The lucky thing is a lot of them players that took us up are young and they will stick with the club and they've got the right attitude, and as long as that maintains, they will develop really well, and they could all be Premier League starters in a season or 2 seasons' time.
Speaking of wrong attitude, though, have you seen Joe Bellingham's absolutely having a shitter at Dortmund?
He's out the pram there. He's well out the pram.
Yeah, absolutely. Dodged a bullet
there. Is that him for getting back on loan in January?
Don't leave Sunderland. It never goes well.
I honestly don't think we'd need him now. Like at the time, I was sitting there going, "Oh my god, what are we going to replace him with?" Now I'm sitting there going, Diarra, Siddiqui, Xhaka, and Gatreda that can also drop in there. I don't think we need him.
And Conrad's going to say that, and then we're going to go, Xhaka's injured for the rest of the season. Siddiqui's injured for 3 months, and Gatruda's injured for a month. Conrad's like,
at that point, then maybe I'd go, we'll have him back on loan, but you're paying his wages.
Probably. Right. I think for the Dan Neil thing, I think it's an interesting one, because if you're going to, I think the pure and simple fact is, before Diarra got injured, Diarra, Siddiqui, Xhaka was the starting 3. End of story for me. I like Dan Neil. I know Jimmy Paddy really doesn't like him, but I really strongly disagree. I think Dan Neil does have a place in the squad. For me, fair point that, mate. The fact that he hasn't signed the contract yet is still quite poor for me, and I've said this for about a year that it needed to get done. For me, I would say, well, yeah, exactly. So I think I can understand it a bit. I can understand the argument a bit more now that Jack Diarra since got injured. That maybe if you put them as a midfield 3, but if you're going to play Neil, Xhaka and Siddiqui have to be with him in the midfield for it to have a chance of working. Because the problem is, if he's going to be and I suppose that it's a double-edged sword for me, because you don't know they're definitely not going to be good enough to give them the exposure. But if you think they're not going to be good enough, teams are going to target them, and as such, in this league, with how brutal it is, it will end up costing you points. So it's a weird one for me. I think, personally for me, I agree with Conrad. I think it's more the case about Rig. I think that Rig's probably, and again, like with Villa, we said it's a shame because he was the victim of the circumstance of the red card, having to change system and having to change what we were going to be doing for the rest of the game. So I think I'd like to see Rig probably get a bit more minutes, and I think Rig's probably earned that as well. I know that obviously, like with Daniel, he's not proven at a Premier League level yet, but I think you can tell he's got the extra X factor about him. And obviously, they're not the same position. I know there's a lot of debate that Daniel can't do the sitting role. I actually think he can, personally. I'm not convinced Daniel's great going forward as people think he is, whereas I think Rig is a much better player going forward than what Daniel is. So, and I think you can tell and I think out of the two of them, although they are both young, Rig as a younger player has definitely got a higher ceiling for me. You look at the caliber of clubs that supposedly have been interested in Rig in the past compared to Daniel. It speaks, even though I like both players, it speaks volumes. So I think, and you got to remember, even if you're looking at it again, and look to mention the famous three letters again, PSR, but if you look at it, if Rig gets played enough to the point where he's developed into and plays well enough to the point where he is a massive asset, then if we want to keep progressing, we're going to need to make the odd big sale, even in the Premier League, if we stay up. So Daniel as well, I suppose, if we sell him in January, but Chris Rig, 5 year, he's under contract till 2030 now, so it's going to be even more pure profit. So yeah, I do take the point. I think to quickly end it with Daniel, I think when Diarra was fit, he simply just doesn't get a look in. As simple as that for me. And all right, we'll put it this way then: let's say when we're playing Leeds at home, or even Burnley at home to a degree, let's see if he stands out. Or could you say even Wolves, if he has to play there? Those are the teams he needs to stand out against in a good way if he has a chance of making it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't think he gets anywhere near the first time. I don't think he's good enough. I mean, for me, if this contract situation, I would sell him in January. Don't forget, he was linked with like Everton, wanting West Ham in the close season, 15, 20 million being bandied about. So for me, in January,
I think even if you get up to 5, even if you just get a couple of million from him in January, because you're not going to get that much from him with 6 months. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Ipswich come in for him. You know, because they were after Hayden Hackney, and I think they'll think, hang on, Dan Neal's available for a couple of million. We could probably, and they'll have the wages, they'll have the spending power in the Championship to give him a competitive salary. So I think, I think it is going to be worth. I think it is going to be
promotion
worth it.
experience as well for him.
Well, exactly, and I think, but also, it does sound harsh. A lot of things we're saying, but you've got to be harsh in the Premier League. If you're too sentimental, you get relegated. Unfortunately,
100% you do. Mike, did you get a question or did you not?
Yeah, so my question will hopefully be a quick one, and it's probably related to what we're talking about directly. Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier on, Villa, I think, interested in Enzo for 35 million.
Isidore.
Isidore.
Is it Isidore they're interested? Sorry,
Isidore.
I misread that. Yeah, but either way.
Notice no one going for my ender though, mate.
No, my question is, we've obviously seen a model from the club up until this point, and then it's changed dramatically when we've gone into the Premier League. Are we still based around profit? If big offers come in for players, are we going to be selling in January? Are we going to struggle to keep hold of them? And if these players come in as a platform to say, look at me, I'm in the Premier League, and if a team like United, City or something come in for Diarra, are we going to be able to fend them off?
It's a good question, I think, but in January, we know how inflated the prices are. If anybody wants them, they're under contract. You're going to be talking 50, 60 million. So
these clubs would do it. That's the thing.
Would
we do it? Is the question. I'm asking more about like the regime with Dreyfus, Dreyfus and stuff like that.
I don't think they would.
No. I think
next summer is a different prospect. But I think in January I don't see it.
Unless there's a perfect deal that just falls into their lap, I don't think they're going out looking for something unless we get some injuries or some situation arise. I think they're very much like, we've done our business now, so we didn't have to pay 40 million for a player that was worth 17 just because it's January, although the Isidore money is interesting because I think we've all unanimously said if we got 35 million for him, which is
He's scored more than Isak. Can we not get 180 million for him?
Well, I think we said unanimously he's worth maybe 20 tops, I would have thought, but then to get 35, are we in a position to turn that down, really? And then if Mayenda's doing all right and if Brobby's come on a bit at that point, do you take that risk? Because in January,
only way he would justify it in January for me is if you could definitely find someone who is going to be an upgrade on him for 35 million. Because I think for 35 million, you could probably generally buy an upgrade on him. Is it possible in January though? And is it going to be someone who's going to need time to adapt to the Premier League though? That's the issue. Unless it's a hell of a loan deal with an obligation to a permanent, then I could maybe see that happening.
I think you're talking low numbers. I think Wayne's right. It's inflated in January. And you'd be looking, if somebody comes in for Isidore and he's our main goal scorer at the time because, Conrad gets his way and he starts every game, then I wouldn't let him go for less than 50 at all. Not even close. I wouldn't even think about it.
On the flip side of that,
would be mental to pay that money for him. I mean, I love him dearly, as you all know, but anyone would be mental to pay anywhere near.
How much did we pay for Will Grigg?
Well, I think he's had a lot of bonuses.
What was it said before? Different regime to now.
I think they had a lot of bonuses included. I think it was a maximum of 4 million, but bonuses on promotion and stuff that we didn't get.
We went up to the Premier League.
That's
never happened, did it? So
that's not about our regime. That's just saying people in general are stupid enough to pay stupid prices for stupid players.
Well, I suppose if you want to frame it a different way to back up Mike's point, we paid more for Will Grigg than we did for Wilson Isidore on a permanent.
Yeah. So. On the flip side, though, if Isidore gets to January and has not scored any more goals, then he's not
going to be linked with £35 million moves.
Exactly.
Probably,
We'll say we'll take 27.
Okay, if Villa
you played for Chelsea against Liverpool.
Yeah. Here's one then. So if say Villa did come in for him in January and they wanted him, so go. All right, I'll tell you what, Villa, we'll take 10 million plus Ollie Watkins.
Yeah,
that's a fair deal, isn't it?
100%.
I don't know how is Ollie Watkins in his 30s now.
Probably.
Is that what they're probably looking at? The next sort of striker?
He's not that old, is he?
It's just, I know this is a Sunderland podcast, but it did feel weird the other season when they sold John Duran for 80 when they were getting offers of 60 for Ollie Watkins to Arsenal, and yet John Duran was like 21-year-old and banging them in for fun.
Well, he's 20. He's 29 now. He's 30 in December.
Yeah, so it was just weird from Villa, and then, like you say, he's not had the best of starts this season as well. So.
Interesting. Like, I can't see anybody paying that much for Wilson Isidore.
I don't think we sell any.
Yeah.
Unless a mental offer comes in, I don't think we sell any.
The one I could see us selling is like Patterson for because we've got Moore and Blondie who could also
I hope we do good business and shed the dead weight because we know we've got a lot of it in the back.
That's what we need. We need to get rid of all of them.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they want to go too much. I think they're waiting to see where we're at in January in case they start to go, shit, do we need them next season, actually, if we end up going down? But if we're, like Mike says, on 30, how many points was it? 32 points?
Well, Mike's going to be right.
At least.
If we're on at least 32 by the start of January, I think they start to go, right, Patterson, what can we get for him? Neil, what can we get for him? Because I think at that point they're starting to think we're going to get at least 8 points within the next 19 games.
Well, here's the thing, because if you're looking at so what was it? The two players Conrad mentioned there, which is Patterson and Neil. What you want is parachute payment championship clubs to come in for them because they'll go. They literally got promoted last season with Sunderland, and they know what it takes to get out of this division. So, for me, we've said before that unanimously, really, that I think as much as I like Anthony Patterson, and I stand by that, without his good performance at Wembley, we wouldn't be here. And I know he obviously has his issues, but he's better than people say he is, I think. But I also think you've got to be ruthless and say, is he going to cut it at Premier League level? Probably not. And at this point, does he value playing? Does he value getting minutes in him? Does he value playing football as opposed? If he thinks he can genuinely challenge Roofs, then fair enough. There's also the possibility Roofs gets injured. We don't know. We have to wait and see where we're going to be in over 2.5 months. But I'm hoping Mike's right, and we're going to be in the conversation for Europe in 2.5 months, and then he can, be smug and make us all look like idiots. But there is the possibility. Yeah, well, there is the possibility that it could all go tits up. We don't know yet. So, for me, I think that's the thing, though. Again, if you get an offer for Patterson and for Neil, you could probably replace them with a couple of really smart loans in January for the rest of the season. But it all depends what situation we're in by that point.
Or Kobe Mainu.
Or could be Manu, right?
Maybe.
All ifs and buts. Right, that's it. We're just about to go into injury time. So
We don't want to
Wayne's
get to
desperate to
extra
go to
time.
bed.
We'll get sued.
Yeah, God.
Right, lads, how do we keep this going for another 20 minutes so Wayne can go to bed?
To be honest, I'm shattered at the minute. Like I'm struggling here.
right, just before we go, we'll go around the room just for to see your goodbyes. So Mike, do you want to say to everybody?
Yes, thank you all for being here. 88 of you I can see in here right now. Don't forget to check out all of the channels across the top. Black Cats TV, Only Fools and SAFC, and Michael Bowers 541. Without you guys, we'd just be four idiots talking to ourselves. So
Nice one. Cheers, Mike. Michael?
I mean, let's be honest, we are that even with people listening, so it's appreciated that people do listen and watch.
Someone said we're going to get 32 points.
Saying that's just my little tribute to a friend.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like Conrad, you said, one of us did say we're going to be on 32 points after we played, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Spurs. So, we'll wait and see. But yeah, no, thanks everyone for who's watching and who's listening on Spotify as well. It's appreciated. And it's a really good show with these guys. I really enjoy it. It's good to see it's going down well. So, yeah. Like you said, and the good thing for Wayne is we're finishing a little bit early so we can go to bed. So it's fine.
A little bit. What, 8 minutes?
Yeah,
it's actually less. The last episode was 1 hour 36, so we've got 5 more minutes until it's not actually the shortest episode we've ever done.
I've got another question, by the way.
For those who can't see, Wayne just really went out of frame there. He's just like, please no.
I wish I had control of the stream.
This is where Mike's just sitting in the background. Just going,
Conrad, go on. See you. Goodbyes.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Whether you're on Michael's, Wayne's, or our channel, it's really appreciated. And if you're watching afterwards, drop us some comments. Let us know what you think. If you ask some questions in any of the videos, we'll try and answer them next week, as well as doing the Wolves preview as well. So get those in. And if you're on Spotify, do the same as well. It's new to us, but we'll have a look at it and see what comes from it. So cheers, everybody.
Nice one. And just to kind of battle what all of them have said, thank you very much for everybody who's tuned in. Everybody who's put the comments in, greatly appreciate it. It does make the show as well with all your comments and your banter. The banter's class for these three. The shows are great. Long may it continue, and we'll see you next week for the Wolves preview.